A young man named Yi-min was vigorously shaking his body, a tissue clutched in his hand. It wasn't hard to guess what he was doing, something all boys his age did. Suddenly, his door opened and Jin quickly switched his computer screen to an online learning website. His mother advised him to take care of his health and not indulge in such activities excessively, as it could affect his brain development. Annoyed, Yi-min shooed his mother out and then lay on his bed, pondering her advice. In reality, Yi-min knew this habit wasn't healthy, but being in puberty, he felt he couldn't control himself. The next day, Yi-min slumped over his desk at school. His close friend immediately recognized that he was exhausted from his nightly habits. Although Yi-min didn't admit it, his exhaustion was evident on his face. During lunch, while eating spicy instant noodles, he looked up and saw his girlfriend across from him eating a sausage. The image of her wet tongue gliding over the sausage sent his imagination racing, and his body started to react. That night, Yi-min was back in front of his computer, shaking his body. This was a daily occurrence. Even on the bus, the slightest contact with a woman, or the sight of his teacher in a white shirt lecturing, would trigger a physical response he couldn't stop. Each time, he'd end up slumped back at his desk. One day, Yi-min was dozing in class when he was awakened by Yi-kyung, the most beautiful girl in the class. Alone in the room together, Yi-min's imagination began to run wild. Yi-kyung approached him and softly whispered that it was time for P class, then turned and left. Later, during art class, the teacher asked Yi-kyung to be a model. She gracefully stood before the class, removing her hair tie. Every movement exuded an allure that captivated the boys and sparked envy among the girls. Yi-min sat, mesmerized by Yi-kyung's beauty. From that moment, he fell in love with this girl, someone irresistible to every boy. He even secretly sketched her portrait during break time. The following day, the teacher decided to rearrange the seating chart for fairness. Student names appeared on the board and were randomly moved. In a stroke of incredible luck, Yi-min was assigned to sit next to Yi-kyung. Under the teacher's watchful eye, he successfully navigated his way to the seat beside her. Yi-kyung enthusiastically extended her hand, wanting to establish a friendly relationship. However, Yi-min was hesitant, feeling his hands were unclean and unworthy of touching her. But Yi-kyung didn't stop there. She took out hand lotion, and having dispensed too much, gently applied the excess to Yi-min's hands. Her soft touch ignited something within him, and he started to react physically. If there were levels of T meaning manipulative behavior, Yi-kyung was surely a level all girls would fear. The next day, a major incident occurred at school. Everyone took out their phones and watched the hot news on the school's website. A student filming a dance video in the hallway had accidentally captured a male student in a classroom engaging in an indecent act. Yi-kyung, always gentle and kind, expressed her opinion, calling the person an animal, saying only an animal couldn't control their desires. This statement hit Yi-min hard, as his own control in this area was no better than the person in the video. To change his situation, Yi-min started searching online for ways to control his urges. He found an organization specializing in abstinence, promising that if followed, a man's body would be reborn and reach a perfect state, even achieving immortality. Excited, Yi-min began filling out his personal information. He'd started this habit in 8th grade, once a day, and had maintained it for 5 years, regardless of the weather. After filling out the form, Yi-min started watching videos by the organization's leader, known as Brother Ju-woo. Ju-woo explained in detail the act of catching a squirrel and putting it in a jar, a euphemism for masturbation and its harmful effects. The first step to quitting, he stressed, was to avoid all unhealthy content. Yi-min diligently took notes and also read testimonials from other members. Within the organization, one person claimed to be completely cured after a month of abstinence. Another boasted of acquiring teleportation powers after 3 months. Almost everyone in the group shared one common trait: baby smooth skin. Through extensive data, Yi-min learned that abstaining for 100 days supposedly made it easier to find a girlfriend. This fueled his determination to abstain for 100 days to pursue Yi-kyung. He deleted all his precious videos and began focusing on his dream of winning her over. Fueled by this ambition, he started practicing basketball and solving Rubik's cubes in bed. By the 3rd day of abstinence, Yi-min discovered he had developed Hawkeye vision, able to spot his teacher's secret rendezvous from hundreds of meters away. By the 5th day, he became lightning fast, able to rush to Yi Kyung's side in an instant to retrieve her dropped phone. Seeing her admiring gaze, Yi Min felt immensely satisfied. Fast forward to the 7th day of abstinence. In art class, Yi Kyung saw Yi Min's drawings of her and praised his talent, suggesting he could become a comic book artist. Overjoyed, Yi Min even boasted he would show off his skills in front of Roman 6 Kim, likely a famous artist or figure. However, no one noticed someone quietly leaving the classroom. From then on, Yi Min's life became more structured. Every evening, he'd either work out or read at home. His mental state improved, and his relationship with Yi Kyung progressed. She even accepted his friend request on social media. Proudly, Yi Min shared his successful abstinence journey on the organization's forum. However, the other members threw cold water on his enthusiasm apparently. A week was just the beginning. On the 10th day, a difficult phase called the nightmare period would begin, where sensitivity increased tenfold. This was the true test for those practicing abstinence. Sure enough, Yi Min entered the nightmare period. Everything around him became a temptation, from the food in the fridge to Yi Kyung's alluring actions as she applied lip balm at school. Every move she made was incredibly subtle, yet enough to stir the heart of any ordinary man, let alone Yi Min, who was going through this agonizing phase. Yi Min's body started to react. He hurriedly covered his lower half with his notebook, but that was only the beginning. In class, Yi Kyung placed her hand on his thigh, her breath warm against his ear. Yi Min couldn't take it. This phase was truly worse than he imagined. Even the toilet paper roll in the bathroom seemed suggestively placed. The curtains in the classroom, when looked at a certain way, resembled two bodies intertwined. Back home, Yi Min desperately searched online for help. He couldn't take it anymore. Ju Woo, presumably an older friend or mentor, had advised him to stay at least a meter away from women to survive this nightmarish period. Enlightenment struck Yi Min. The next day at school, he dragged his desk away from Yi Kyung, claiming he had a bad odor as an excuse for the sudden distance. Yi Kyung, preoccupied with her poor test results, didn't pay much attention. To distress, Yi Kyung invited Yi Min to hang out after school. Ever the enthusiastic young man, he agreed. Cut to a karaoke bar. Yi Kyung's casual handling of the microphone flustered Yi Min, but his willpower held strong, maintaining the crucial 1 meter distance. Who knows what might have happened otherwise, locked in that dimly lit room. Afterward, they strolled along the riverbank. To Yi Min's surprise, Yi Kyung lit up a cigarette. That night, Yi Min scrolled through photos he'd taken with Yi Kyung, a sense of contentment washing over him. The following day, Yi Kyung invited Yi Min to her art studio to paint her portrait. As he worked, she edged closer, seductively crossing and uncrossing her legs, applying lipstick with a flourish. "Want to know what this lipstick feels like?" she purred. As her face drew near, Yi Min's eyes snapped open. He was drenched in sweat, his body buzzing from a wet dream. Mortified, he wondered if this counted as a failure in his 100-day abstinence challenge. He frantically consulted the internet. Fortunately, the answer was no, unconscious slips didn't count. Relief flooded him. However, the website warned that 2 consecutive nights would nullify the whole endeavor. Despair returned. The next day at school, the hall monitor patrolled the restrooms, warning the boys against excessive toilet paper usage. Apparently, a spate of uncontrollable incidents had tarnished the school's reputation. Back in class, remembering his dream about Yi Kyung, Yi Min cringed. Oblivious, Yi Kyung draped her arm over his shoulder, asking him to redraw her portrait. The physical contact sent a jolt through him. He had to visualize the hall monitor to regain his composure. After school, Yi Min visited the school library, supposedly a screening location for the abstinence club. He encountered a girl there and, awkwardly, asked if she knew anything about masturbation. She slapped him and stormed off. Moments later, a serious-looking boy appeared, quizzing him about self-pleasure and the website he frequented. Thankfully, Yi Min answered correctly and was led to the club's secret meeting place. He recognized several faces among the members. But the biggest surprise was the club president, a man who had reportedly abstained for over 1,000 days. The president's handsome appearance reinforced Yi Min's belief that abstinence would enhance his own looks and confidence, ultimately helping him win Yi Kyung's heart. Cut to Day 30. Yi-min had weathered the worst of the nightmarish period. Feeling more confident, he started sharing snacks with Yi Kyung. In his spare time, he pursued his passion for drawing manga. The female protagonist, none other than Yi Kyung, his secret crush. Morning exercise was also an integral part of Yi-min's routine. However, if he encountered groups of attractive women on his morning jog, he would immediately turn around and head home for a cold shower. This, he believed, was the key to his perseverance. By day 60, Yi-min had undergone a noticeable transformation. He looked radiant, a stark contrast to Yi Kyung's weary appearance on the bus. Worried she might oversleep and miss her stop, Yi-min biked alongside, keeping pace with the bus. Thanks to his abstinence, his stamina was impressive. The bus pulled up just as Yi Kyung was about to reach her stop. Surprised, she flashed a heart sign at Yi-min in gratitude. His heart rate spiked. He even immortalized the moment in his manga. Time flew by, and day 91 of his abstinence journey arrived. In his manga, the protagonist finally confessed his feelings. Just 2 days remained until Yi-min planned his own confession to Yi Kyung at the Abstinence Club's in-person meeting. He announced his impending 100-day milestone. The members rejoiced, but Yi-min fretted. He hadn't figured out how to confess. He hoped for advice from the other members. The mood turned somber. Yi-min discovered that none of the members had ever had a girlfriend or boyfriend. The only one with any romantic experience had an online relationship they'd never even met. The harsh truth dawned on him: abstinence wasn't the cause of his single status. People in relationships enjoyed couple activities, a realm Yi-min couldn't fathom. Disheartened, he returned to class. A text message wished him luck, mentioning a gift waiting for him in the art room. Puzzled, Yi-min went to investigate. The room was empty, save for a few milkshakes and a sign, "Shake well before drinking." He turned his back and began shaking a bottle. Unbeknownst to him, another student filmed the scene from the doorway. From that angle, it looked like Yi-min was engaging in a rather compromising act. Later, Yi-min visited a print shop to compile his 100 days of manga into a book. Today was the day 100, the day of his confession. Everything hinged on this. He left the manga at the school library and texted Yi Kyung, "If you want to read the whole story, come to the library." Intrigued by the familiar scenes depicted in the message, she went. Yi-min had sent her a quadratic equation. She had to solve it to find the manga's location. Only a veteran of 10 years of singlehood could devise such a challenge. Luckily, Yi Kyung was a good student. She quickly solved the problem and found the book. A warm smile spread across her face as she recognized familiar scenes. Yi-min stood nearby, a bundle of nerves. He took a deep breath and approached her, ready to confess. "I like you," he began. But before the words fully left his lips, the hall monitor arrived, seizing Yi-min's arm and dragging him to the office. The monitor played a video, Yi-min in the art room, rhythmically shaking his body. To any observer, it looked incriminating. The hall monitor berated him. Yi-min tried to explain, but no one believed him. The incident spread like wildfire. All previous incidents were now attributed to him. The class chat exploded. If not for Yi Kyung suggesting everyone go to bed, the conversation would have raged all night. The next day, Yi-min returned to class, met with awkward stares. Yi Kyung greeted him as usual. But before he could explain, another girl approached and demanded he move. Concerned for Yi Kyung's safety, the homeroom teacher moved Yi-min's desk away from hers. Immediately afterward, a still despondent Yi-min was called to the principal's office again. This time, however, the principal apologized. It turned out the members of the Abstinence Club had stepped in and cleared Yi-min's name. They reviewed the video, and through the imagery, posture, and timing of the event, they ruled out the possibility of Yi-min being the person in the video. They then proceeded to search for other male students who were present at the same time and wearing red shoes. Eventually, they identified the real culprit through the dashcam footage of the math teacher. Everyone was shocked to discover that the suspect was none other than the president of the Abstinence Club, the one who had abstained for over 1,000 days. This club president had been secretly scattering protein powder throughout the school. His motive for framing Yi-min stemmed from his own affection for Yi Kyung. Seeing Yi-min on the verge of success, he hatched this plan. Back in the classroom, Yi-min was exonerated. His best friend explained that Yi Min only engaged in that at home and never in public. The real culprit was apprehended. Embarrassed, Yi Min ran to the park to relax. He sat on a bench next to a noisy couple who were telling single people to make room. Just as Yi Min was about to get up, Yi Kyung suddenly appeared and sat beside him. She was holding the comic book he had drawn. She asked, "Yi Min, did you really abstain from watching adult films for 100 days?" Yi Min nodded in confirmation. Then, Yi Kyung leaned closer to Yi Min's face and softly said, "I like muscular guys. And I don't want to date before college. If you want, we can wait until college to start dating." Yi Min's confession plan had failed, but he wasn't discouraged. After 100 days of abstinence, he finally touched Yi Kyung's hand and even got to go to karaoke with her to dance. Even though things didn't go as planned, the memories they created would always be a cherished part of their youth. This seemingly average but captivating girl's name was Yu-ra. She was very traditional when it came to physical contact. If a boy accidentally brushed against her, she would immediately push him away. This was the very reason her boyfriend, Yi-jun, had dumped her. Now, Yi-jun was on a date with a beautiful girl, engaging in intimate gestures. Her name was Da-hyun. Da-hyun and Yu-ra were inseparable best friends. Yi-jun's hand began to wander over Da-hyun's body. Compared to Yu-ra, Da-hyun was more accepting of physical intimacy. She held Yi-jun's hand, smiled, and led him to a secluded spot. After playing ball, Yu-ra returned to the classroom and stumbled upon Yi-jun and Da-hyun in an intimate embrace. Da-hyun rushed to explain, but the image of Yi-jun breaking up with her flashed through Yu-ra's mind. Yi-jun bluntly admitted that he was in love with Da-hyun. Yu-ra immediately turned away, and Da-hyun chased after her, apologizing profusely. Trying to suppress her inner turmoil, Yu-ra feigned indifference, even sarcastically wishing Da-hyun a speedy childbirth. Afterward, Da-hyun and Yi-jun went public with their relationship. Everyone in class was paying close attention. Although South Korea is a relatively open country, the swapped affections within their friend group still surprised everyone. Everyone knew about the relationship between Da-hyun, Yu-ra, and Yi-jun. However, Yi-jun and Da-hyun seemed oblivious to the awkwardness, shamelessly displaying their affection in front of their classmates. Infuriated, Yu-ra decided to pour all her energy into sports. Unfortunately, while distracted, she was bumped by someone, causing her relay baton to hit her head. Yu-ra fell to the ground, embarrassed, and closed her eyes. Luckily, her childhood friend, Nam-ho, appeared in a dramatically romantic fashion, swooping in to pick her up. Their classmates gaped in astonishment. Nam-ho was the most handsome boy in school. No girl could resist his charm. The scene shifted to the nurse's office. As Yu-ra was about to leave, Da-hyun dragged Yi-jun in to visit, crying and clinging to him for comfort. Lying on the bed, Yu-ra couldn't take it anymore. She opened her eyes and kicked them out. Later, feeling dejected, Yu-ra prepared to go home. On the way, she found Nam-ho waiting for her. Seeing the mark on Yu-ra's forehead, he teased, "You look like an Indian." He then asked if she was upset about her best friend dating her ex-boyfriend. Yu-ra exploded, yelling, "This has nothing to do with them. It's because of the pollution on Earth and the ongoing war in the Middle East." Her ridiculous explanation left Nam-ho speechless. Back home, Yu-ra's mood worsened. The school's online forums were filled with pictures of her falling, her fake faint having been exposed by her classmates due to her poor acting. Moreover, Da-hyun and Yi-jun's names were everywhere. Seeing all of this, Yu-ra was on the verge of a breakdown. The next day at school, Da-hyun continued to flaunt her relationship in front of Yu-ra. Everyone needs to save face. To regain hers, Yu-ra came up with a brilliant plan to ask Nam-ho to pretend to be her boyfriend. Nam-ho, with his good looks and physique, was sure to embarrass Da-hyun. But the thought made Yu-ra feel insecure. Despite being childhood friends, Nam-ho had always rejected her advances. Even when he was sick, he'd shooed her away from his bedside. Determined to one-up Da-hyun, Yu-ra resolved to ask Nam-ho for this favor. Nam-ho, mid-drink, nearly choked, telling her to get lost. But Yu-ra played her trump card, Sun Hyung-min's autograph. While the reader might not know who that is, based on their descriptions, he's clearly a famous soccer player, and Nam-ho was a die-hard fan. And so, Yu-Ra and Nam-Ho's fake relationship began. They promised each other no physical contact. But no sooner had they made this pact than Da-Hyun and Ye-Jun appeared, engaging in inappropriate behavior right in front of them, and invited them to the love house that evening. Not to be outdone, Yu-Ra agreed. But upon arriving at the love house, Yu-Ra was nearly mortified. A couple emerged disheveled, with used tissues still visible inside. The protective gear on the table and the bizarre atmosphere were too much for Yu-Ra to handle. She turned on the TV, but the disturbing images made Yu-Ra quickly switch it off. Just then, from the next room, the suggestive sounds of Da-Hyun and Ye-Jun drifted over. Yu-Ra's competitive spirit flared. She yelled towards their apartment. "I did it 8 times yesterday, taking a break today." After they finished, the two headed home. They lived across the hall from each other. Yu-Ra would often sneak peeks at Nam-Ho working out. She could never get enough of watching his muscles flex. When Nam-Ho caught her, he called her a pervert. Just like that, they bickered across the hallway until 3 a.m. Scene change? Yu-Ra invited Nam-Ho on another double date. Truthfully, it was just another opportunity for the girls to compete. But this time, Da-Hyun and Ye-Jun took their public displays of affection to a new level. In the middle of a crowded area, they kissed, even making Yu-Ra take a picture. Then it was Yu-Ra and Nam-Ho's turn. They both acted like they couldn't stand each other. Nam-Ho hoisted Yu-Ra onto his shoulder like a sack of potatoes. The onlookers, including Ye-Jun and Da-Hyun, laughed. Not wanting to lose face, Yu-Ra seized the opportunity while Nam-Ho wasn't paying attention and kissed him on the lips. So Nam-Ho, in an awkward position, lifted Yu-Ra up for a kiss. From their angle, it looked like tongues were involved. It was unclear who initiated it, but eventually, Nam-Ho dropped Yu-Ra back to the ground. On the way home, Nam-Ho felt disgusted, like he'd stepped in dog poop. They argued, each blaming the other for starting the tongue action. Nam-Ho decided to end their fake relationship. In her distress, Yu-Ra tripped and sprained her ankle. Nam-Ho had no choice but to carry her home on his back. As he carried her, Yu-Ra realized for the first time that Nam-Ho's back felt genuinely safe. The atmosphere grew subtly intimate. But Yu-Ra's expression suddenly became strained. Everyone has 3 urgent needs. Some things just can't be held back. Nam-Ho ran like crazy. He just managed to get Yu-Ra to the bathroom before she couldn't hold it any longer. After she was done, Yu-Ra lay on the bed while a sweaty and exhausted Nam-Ho wiped his brow with his shirt. As he did, Yu-Ra suddenly stared. When Nam-Ho noticed Yu-Ra's gaze, a playful thought crossed his mind. He took off his shirt, exposing his upper body to Yu-Ra. With just one glance, Yu-Ra's jaw dropped, and she swallowed hard. Nam-Ho leaned in close to Yu-Ra, making her hold her breath. After the teasing ended, Nam-Ho put an ice pack on Yu-Ra's ankle and left. That night, Yu-Ra had another inappropriate dream, and again, Nam-Ho was the star. The next day, when Yu-Ra arrived at class, Nam-Ho had a new ice pack ready for her. At this point, Yu-Ra realized something was wrong with her. No matter what Nam-Ho did, he seemed incredibly handsome, like he had a beauty filter on. When did this boy become so strong and wild? Yu-Ra was completely captivated by his attractiveness. Embarrassed by her staring, Nam-Ho called her a pervert again. Though annoyed, Yu-Ra couldn't tear her eyes away from his physique. At that moment, Yu-Ra realized that physical contact with the opposite sex might not be so bad after all. From then on, Yu-Ra was constantly drawn to Nam-Ho's body. During sketching class, she even unconsciously drew his abs. Gradually, Nam-Ho was the only one Yu-Ra could see. All the other boys in her class started to annoy her. To control her thoughts, Yu-Ra decided to end their charade. She texted Nam-Ho, asking him to meet after school. Just after sending the text, she caught sight of a familiar figure in a nearby alleyway. It was Nam-Ho. There was a girl with him, and they were acting intimately. The girl even opened her shirt, revealing 2 white patches inside. Yu-Ra instantly lost it, letting out a piercing scream. Startled, Nam-Ho asked, "Yu-Ra, are you crazy?" Yu-Ra didn't know how to respond. She wanted to yell at Nam-Ho, but then she remembered she wasn't his actual girlfriend. Defeated, she walked away. On the way home, Yu-ra couldn't help but ask Nam-ho, "Who was that girl?" Nam-ho calmly replied, "You have no right to ask." Yu-ra was instantly speechless. She insisted, "Regardless, we're publicly dating right now. If you act so carelessly and rumors spread, I'll lose face." So they had a huge fight and ended their fake relationship. The next day, Yu-ra went to school fuming. As usual, Da-hyun and Yi-jun were completely unfazed by the suspicious glances, continuing their blatant displays of affection. When her classmates saw Yu-ra arrive alone, they started questioning her relationship with Nam-ho. Yu-ra tried to come up with an excuse, but just as she finished speaking, Nam-ho walked right past her without even a glance. Yu-ra felt utterly humiliated. During gym class, Yu-ra suddenly felt a sharp pain in her stomach. Nam-ho instinctively moved to check on her, but noticing the teasing looks from their classmates, he backed off and left Yu-ra to fend for herself. So Yu-ra went to the nurse's office alone. While resting, Yu-ra asked the nurse, "Lately, my heart races and my face flushes easily. I also feel nauseous sometimes, and my mood swings are terrible." The pretty nurse told Yu-ra, "It sounds like you might be experiencing the symptoms of lovesickness." At lunchtime, Yu-ra sat with Nam-ho, Yi-jun, and Da-hyun. Da-hyun and Yi-jun's sweet gestures irritated Yu-ra, but she couldn't bring herself to reciprocate, especially after her fight with Nam-ho. Then, Da-hyun suggested they all go to a resort for the weekend. Without thinking, Yu-ra immediately agreed, not bothering to consult Nam-ho. Nam-ho was furious. He dragged Yu-ra to the rooftop and said sternly, "That resort is a dump. Go by yourself." He turned to leave. Yu-ra calmly blocked his path. She pulled out a letter. Upon seeing the letter, Nam-ho's cold expression instantly crumbled. With this letter, he could attend a fan meet with his idol. In the end, Nam-ho agreed to accompany Yu-ra to the resort he had just called a dump. At the resort, Yu-ra followed Da-hyun to their room, but Da-hyun stopped her, wanting to share a room with Yi-jun. Yu-ra was taken aback. She believed unmarried men and women shouldn't share a room, but this was Da-hyun. Yu-ra calmly said, "I don't have a problem with it." So she went to Nam-ho's room. In the next instant, an awkward situation unfolded. A box fell out of Yu-ra's bag. If she wasn't mistaken, it definitely contained ultra-thin 0.01 condoms. Nam-ho turned around. Yu-ra quickly stepped on the box. Her awkward posture made Nam-ho burst out laughing. Realizing the issue, Nam-ho pretended to leave the room. Yu-ra quickly kicked the box of condoms away, but it landed right at Nam-ho's feet. With his expert soccer skills, Nam-ho easily caught it. Looking at the box in his hand, Nam-ho's eyes widened in surprise. Actually, these weren't for Nam-ho. Earlier, she had seen Yi-jun buying condoms at the convenience store. Out of spite, Yu-ra had bought a box too. After the awkward moment passed, the group headed to the pool. At the pool, thinking about her symptoms, Yu-ra started fantasizing about herself and Nam-ho doing unspeakable things underwater. Nam-ho's tongue was so soft, his body so smooth. If Da-hyun hadn't called out to Yu-ra, the next scene would have required a paid subscription. Da-hyun asked Yu-ra, "Why do you like Nam-ho? He seems so much less impressive than Yi-jun." Yu-ra bristled at this. She retorted, "Nam-ho, besides being bad at studying, is good at everything. He's strong, skillful, and a great cook. Yi-jun can't even compare." But she was immediately defeated by reality. Because, besides being bad at studying, Nam-ho was also bad at drinking. Yi-jun and Da-hyun condescendingly told Nam-ho, "If you can't drink, you should sit with the children." Hearing this, Nam-ho got angry. He joined the drinking table, determined to keep up. But the truth was proven. Besides being bad at studying, Nam-ho was also bad at drinking. And to make matters worse, he was terrible at games. Every time he lost, he had to perform a penalty. As a result, Yu-ra ended up sitting on Nam-ho's lap, the two gazing into each other's eyes. Looking at Yu-ra's face, Nam-ho couldn't muster any romantic feelings. He actually wanted to laugh. Every interaction between Yi-jun and Da-hyun seemed designed to torment them. But Nam Ho found opportunities to help Yu-ra get her own back. Seeing her ex-boyfriend clutching his head and groaning brought Yu-ra an inexplicable sense of satisfaction. 2 hours later, Yi-jun and Da-hyun were completely incapacitated. Even drunk, Da-hyun didn't forget to oversee Yu-ra's punishment. She ordered Yu-ra and Nam Ho to kiss passionately for a full minute, a kiss that had to feel like 6 months of stimulants. Further contact with the opposite sex, however, was forbidden. Hearing this, Nam Ho verbally protested, but his actions betrayed him. He pulled Yu-ra, who was trying to slip away, closer. He took the opportunity to slip his tongue into her mouth. Yu-ra felt completely disoriented. She couldn't understand what her relationship with Nam Ho was. Seeking answers, she put aside her resentment and spoke honestly with her ex-boyfriend, Yi-jun. Yi-jun advised Yu-ra to live more freely and do what she wanted. Why wait until marriage for physical intimacy? Physical connection was easier than emotional connection, he argued. Even if it led to hurt, at least there would have been joy. This muddled reasoning resonated with Yu-ra. She sought out Nam Ho, silently gazing at him with desire in her eyes. In the next instant, Yu-ra took the initiative and kissed him. Nam Ho couldn't resist the temptation. He pulled her onto his lap, following up with an aggressive, tongue-laden kiss. His hand moved towards her final line of defense. Removing that barrier would undoubtedly lead to something more. Yu-ra was incredibly tense, unsure what to do. The sudden hardness against her was disconcerting. Would anyone see? Would her one-piece bra be considered uncool? Nam Ho seemed to sense her anxiety. He stopped, looking at her with a determined gaze. He wanted to go back to his room. Yu-ra, bewildered, agreed. Back in the room, she burrowed under the covers, unsure how to act. Nam Ho showered in the bathroom. Hearing the water running, Yu-ra's mind conjured up impure images. By now, Yu-ra had mentally prepared herself, but Nam Ho made no further advances. He lay obediently on the floor until morning. Perhaps Yu-ra's nervous demeanor led him to believe she wasn't receptive. But that strange night became a cherished memory for Yu-ra. She even giggled to herself uncontrollably. Scene change. Yu-ra and Da-hyun were preparing ingredients in the kitchen. Feigning nonchalance, Yu-ra asked, "What defines a romantic relationship between a man and a woman? Does putting your hand on their back count?" Da-hyun, slightly puzzled, responded, "Definitely on the lower back. The front doesn't count." Yu-ra pressed, "What if kissing is involved?" Da-hyun finally gave a definitive answer. "Then it's 99% a romantic relationship." Yu-ra's mood instantly brightened. She reasoned that even without explicitly defining their relationship, their actions implied mutual agreement. She was officially Nam Ho's girlfriend. With this thought firmly in mind, Yu-ra started picking food for Nam Ho during their meal. When they parted ways, she even made a heart shape with her hands for him. But Nam Ho's expression was indifferent, even bordering on disdain. Back home, Yu-ra couldn't contain her longing for him. She texted him, but he was engrossed in his workout. He read the message but didn't reply. The next day, Yu-ra's classmates told her a tragic love story. A girl had just confirmed a relationship with a boy, only to be immediately dumped. This short anecdote made Yu-ra uneasy. She sought out Nam Ho, wanting to invite him to eat with her, but he flatly refused. He said he was going to the internet cafe to play games and didn't have time for her. Nam Ho's reaction fueled her anxiety. She began overthinking. Was he doing something he shouldn't with another girl? She even started blaming herself for not letting him have his way with her the other night. Perhaps that had upset him. So, Yu-ra made a decision. She texted Nam Ho, "Are you home? Can I come over?" He replied, "No one's home. Do you want to come?" Yu-ra thought for a moment and agreed. She felt it was better if no one was home. It would make certain things less awkward. Then, she started getting ready. She tried on outfit after outfit and pulled out jewelry that had been gathering dust on her vanity for years. Perfume, lipstick, she didn't miss a single detail. Ready, Yu-ra arrived at Nam Ho's door and nervously rang the doorbell. She pressed it repeatedly, but there was no sign of him. She called him and discovered that when he said, "No one's home," he meant it literally. Furious, Yu-ra stormed off to the gym to find him. But when she arrived, she witnessed a scene that sparked a desire for revenge. Nam Ho was working out with another girl, and they both had matching tattoos on their chests. Yu-ra turned to leave, but Nam Ho chased after her. He angrily warned, "If you keep making a fuss like this, we're done." Yu-ra almost backed down, but the other girl approached. Unable to save face, Yu-ra ran home and cried silently. Meanwhile, the girl with Nam Ho was lecturing him. "Why won't you be honest?" It seemed their relationship wasn't as straightforward as it appeared. The next day, Yu-ra had recovered her spirits and shaken off her sadness. She stared out the window. Back at school, she changed seats. She even had a huge argument with Nam Ho, declaring she would lock him out every time she saw him. Their classmates watched in bewilderment. Yijun and Da-hyun were equally confused. Later, Yu-ra's mother arrived at school. She informed Yu-ra that they would be going camping with Nam Ho's family soon. Yu-ra was about to refuse when her mother added, "Nam Ho is moving soon." This statement instantly erased all of Yu-ra's resentment. That evening, the camping trip commenced as planned. Their mothers sent Nam Ho and Yu-ra to buy supplies. On the way, they argued because Yu-ra took a picture of Nam Ho smoking, intending to send it to his mother. Not to be outdone, Nam Ho retaliated by taking an unflattering picture of her. The bickering continued. Frustrated that she couldn't win the argument, Yu-ra placed her phone on Nam Ho's chest. He looked awkward but didn't dare move. Finally, Yu-ra threw her phone, shattering it. Nam Ho yelled in anger, but his outburst lasted only 3 seconds. He was a gentle soul. How could he stay mad at the girl he liked? Back at the campsite, Nam Ho even roasted marshmallows for Yu-ra. Unable to hold back any longer, Yu-ra finally asked, "If you move, what will happen to your little girlfriend? You had a girlfriend before, and you treated me like that. Why did you stop that night?" Nam Ho, flustered by the questions and unable to explain, simply said, "I had too much to drink." Hearing this, Yu-ra's hopes were completely dashed. Back home, Yu-ra felt dejected. After much contemplation, she decided their pretend relationship deserved a proper ending. She resolved to give Nam Ho a soccer ball signed by his idol. Yu-ra texted Nam Ho, asking him to meet her on the rooftop. Suddenly, she remembered his phone was broken. She set out to find him. On the way, Yu-ra bumped into the gym teacher and another girl. Yu-ra intentionally avoided eye contact with the girl, seeing her as a romantic rival. But the girl greeted her warmly and invited her for juice. Yu-ra was about to decline when she heard the girl call the gym teacher Mom, leaving her stunned. As far as she knew, the gym teacher didn't have any children. The girl then explained her situation. It turned out her mother had raised her alone. For personal reasons, and to avoid gossip, her mother kept it a secret. After a conversation, Yu-ra understood everything. The girl's name was Si-young. She liked women and used to be passionate about sports. But after an injury, she lost all confidence. The gym teacher had asked Nam Ho to help her daughter, which is how they met. As for the tattoo Yu-ra had misunderstood, it was actually the name of Nam Ho's idol. Thanks to Nam Ho, Si-young had also become a fan. Si-young even told Yu-ra that Nam Ho was shy and liked her but was too afraid to confess, thinking Yu-ra didn't reciprocate his feelings. Yu-ra's emotions were a whirlwind. Meanwhile, Nam Ho was packing his things, feeling utterly hopeless. Back when he'd been injured and unable to play soccer, Yu-ra had comforted him. That's when he started liking her. He'd enjoyed their pretend relationship immensely, but now they were about to part ways. Yu-ra said goodbye to Si-young and started practicing her confession in her room. Arriving at Nam Ho's house, she found him all packed, her heart sinking once more. The next day at school, Yu-ra found her classroom decorated like a confession scene. Pictures of her and Nam Ho were projected on the screen. Unable to contain herself, Yu-ra laughed out loud. Nam Ho appeared from behind. Yu-ra excitedly hugged him. Their classmates turned on the lights, cheered, and ran out. But then, Nam Ho said, "This has nothing to do with me." It turned out Da-hyun and Yijun had orchestrated the surprise to help Yu-ra and Nam Ho reconcile. Everyone was happy, forgetting any past grievances with Da-hyun and Yijun. But then, Nam Ho's expression changed. He left Yu-ra and walked away, leaving everyone bewildered. Later, Yu-ra lay on her bed in despair. She had become the laughingstock of the school. She couldn't understand Nam Ho's actions. Suddenly, she opened her window, ready to yell. But she froze. Nam Ho stood outside, holding a sign that read, "I love you." This was Nam Ho's real confession. That's why he hadn't acknowledged the one at school. Just then, Nam Ho's mother appeared. Seeing her son's young love, she started lecturing him. Yura ran out, and they met on the rooftop. After a heartwarming confession, they started bickering, calling each other shy. But then they both burst out laughing. The scene was sweeter than honey. The next day at school, Yura told Da-hyun and Yi-jun, "Being friends with you guys isn't bad, but don't do that again." The reason? Yura had a new friend, Si-young. With her, there were no comparisons, no pretense. They could even watch adult movies together and video call Nam Ho. Even though Nam Ho had moved away, their love story had just begun. This girl's name is Na-yoon. She's average in every way. Average build, average looks, average personality. Despite this, she dreams of giving herself to someone worthy, and that someone is her classmate, Kang-jun. Every time she sees Kang-jun, Na-yoon gets butterflies. She sees him walking towards her carrying a bag. Truthfully, Kang-jun is many girls' ideal type. He was a trainee for 2.5 years. Due to issues within the group, his dreams of stardom were dashed. Scene change. Na-yoon vows to lose weight but eats instant noodles instead. Her best friend says she'll introduce her to a guy. Unconsciously, Kang-jun's image pops into Na-yoon's head. At that moment, a guy approaches them. Unsurprisingly, he's clearly interested in her best friend. He suggests they eat together and mentions another friend is bringing more food. Her friend is eager to agree, but Na-yoon hesitates. Why? Because she isn't wearing makeup. Na-yoon rushes to the restroom and applies a full face of makeup. Seeing her dramatic transformation, everyone exclaims, "Don't wear makeup next time." After finishing, Na-yoon prepares to return but encounters the class president, Ko-yoon. This girl is trouble. Despite being beautiful, she enjoys putting Na-yoon down. What's more, she's determined to become the object of affection for thousands of boys. Ko-yoon mocks Na-yoon for having lipstick on her teeth and even counts her chins. Worst of all, she grabs Na-yoon's belly fat. Na-yoon snaps. She grabs Ko-yoon by the throat and lifts her into the air. The next moment, Na-yoon wakes up. It was just a dream. In reality, she's timid and wouldn't dare confront Ko-yoon. Back at the table, Na-yoon, feeling confident, prepares to charm the two guys sitting there, but they recoil in horror at her appearance. After all, ugly isn't scary. What's scary is ugly and unaware. Her friend complains that Na-yoon's timing is terrible. Annoyed, Na-yoon retorts that the guys are too ugly for her anyway. Little does she know she just put on all that makeup for them. Na-yoon then proceeds to devour the food. Scene change. Stuffed, Na-yoon arrives home. Her mom is grilling meat. Her brother, holding their dog, teases her that she'll never lose 20 pounds. This ignites Na-yoon's fury. She declares she will lose weight. The very next second, she's at the table enjoying her mom's barbecue, her brother's words completely forgotten. Back in her room, Na-yoon feels incredibly regretful. She plays her guitar, her only real talent. The next day at school, Na-yoon opens her locker to find a gift box and a note. "Na-yoon, your fat is really beautiful." Seeing the signature G at the end, Na-yoon's eyes light up. In class, Na-yoon scans the boys. She dismisses the unattractive ones, deeming them unworthy. Feeling elated, she takes out an apple to eat. Suddenly, a very handsome boy grabs her hand and says, "These hands are beautiful." He then walks away. This boy is Jin Bum, the only boy in class who rivals Kang-jun in looks. He's a smooth talker and often advises his friends on how to woo girls. Na-yoon's excitement grows. She's convinced Jin Bum is captivated by her beauty. The scene shifts to music class. It's test day. None of the students are particularly musically gifted. This is Na-yoon's time to shine. She takes out her guitar and plays a remix. She stuns the teacher and her classmates, including Jin Bum and Kang-jun. Later, during gym class, it's Ko-yoon's turn to shine. Despite her slender appearance, she has a powerful and accurate throw. She hurls the ball towards Na-yoon. Jin Bum intercepts it. Na-yoon is now certain Jin Bum left the note. But then, Ko-yoon strikes again. Na-yoon lands flat on the ground. Ketchup streams from her nose. Na-yoon, flushed with embarrassment, hurried back to class. Kang-joon was dozing, and she couldn't help but admire his handsome features. Suddenly, a noise from outside startled Kang-joon awake. He pulled Na-yoon behind a curtain. The close proximity caused Na-yoon's nose to bleed even more profusely, the blood resembling ketchup. If this were a typical scenario, Kang-joon would likely be worried about being seen alone with Na-yoon. But Na-yoon didn't think so. She used her body to shield Kang-joon, diverting the attention of his approaching female fans. Afterwards, Kang-joon politely offered Na-yoon the candy his fans had given him. Na-yoon was so overjoyed she could barely contain her grin. After class, Na-yoon showed off the love letter she'd received, along with the candy, to her best friend. She claimed they were from a secret admirer. Not far away, Kang-joon was surrounded by a throng of female admirers. Looking at the love letter in her hand and then at him, Na-yoon confidently considered Kang-joon as one of the candidates for J. It could be Jin Bum, or it could be Kang-joon. At home, Na-yoon resolutely told herself she didn't need to lose weight. Being overweight was an art form that ordinary people couldn't appreciate. She popped a lollipop Kang-joon had given her into her mouth and drifted off to sleep. That night, she had indescribable dreams. If Kang-joon knew what he looked like in those dreams, he would surely flee the city that very night. The next day, during P class, the teacher randomly assigned students into groups of 4. The assessment was partner dancing. Na-yoon was grouped with Kang-joon, Jin Bum, and Gun. Gun had a long-standing crush on Kang-joon, but for some reason, during lunch, he sat across from Na-yoon and offered to be her dance partner. Ko-yoon was furious. Na-yoon's best friend was also green with envy. Na-yoon pretended to keep her distance, but shortly after, she confidently declared to her best friend that Jae was definitely Kang-joon. Her best friend, nauseated by Na-yoon's self-assuredness, wanted to facepalm but refrained. Why? Because she suspected Na-yoon had some psychological issues. Later, while watching a movie, indescribable noises came from nearby. Judging by the female voice, it was definitely Ko-yoon. From their conversation, it was clear that the man with her hadn't brought protection and was planning to pull out. Na-yoon and her friend were used to Ko-yoon's frequent, messy escapades in this spot. But then, Ko-yoon said something that shattered Na-yoon's composure. Ko-yoon was on the phone, talking about a party she was throwing on Saturday. She was going to get Kang-joon into bed. She'd been really wanting him lately. Na-yoon was incredibly worried. Cut to the students practicing their dances in the gym. Gun, a former trainee, was the best dancer. After his performance, he received a round of applause. Ko-yoon didn't miss the opportunity, feigning shyness as she asked Kang-joon to be her dance partner. Kang-joon didn't reply. During lunch, Ko-yoon again called Kang-joon to sit beside her. But Kang-joon, without a second thought, walked towards Na-yoon and even gave her the chicken leg from his bowl. He asked, "Na-yoon, will you be my dance partner?" Na-yoon, feigning shyness, happily picked up the chicken leg and ate it. From afar, Jin Bum watched, seething with anger. Why were these two guys ignoring the beautiful Ko-yoon for Na-yoon? This question had no answer, because in reality, this was highly improbable. After lunch, Jin Bum also invited Na-yoon to be his dance partner. Na-yoon was incredibly conflicted. Both Kang-joon and Jin Bum were very handsome. She really didn't know who to choose. Just then, Na-yoon discovered another note in her locker. The signature was still J. It read, "Meet me on the rooftop." Na-yoon was ecstatic. She couldn't focus in class, her mind filled with images of Kang-joon and Jin Bum. Which one of them was J, after all? After class, Jin Bum strode out with an air of confidence and swagger. Na-yoon felt a flutter of excitement. But the next moment, Kang-joon emerged as well, even glancing at Na-yoon. Who could it be? Na-yoon headed towards the rooftop. At the same time, Jin Bum and Kang-joon were also ascending the stairs. Reaching the rooftop, Na-yoon spritzed herself with perfume. As she opened the door, Ko-yoon stood there, a sneer plastered across her face. Na-yoon saw that Ko-yoon had been waiting there. She thought it was just a coincidence, but worried that her rendezvous with her mystery man had been discovered. Ko-yoon aggressively told Na-yoon, "Don't think that just because Kang-joon is nice to you, you can get cocky. He's like that with everyone." Just then, Jin-bum arrived. Ko-yoon turned and left. Jin-bum revealed his true colors. He didn't explicitly admit to being Jae, but he took Na-yoon's hand. Na-yoon didn't resist, but she was deeply disappointed. She had hoped it would be Kang-joon. Jin-bum held her hand tightly, talking about how lonely he was. As he spoke, he sniffed her hand and played with her fingers. Na-yoon felt a surge of panic. She thought Jin-bum was a pervert. She was so beautiful, and all he could focus on was her hand. In the next instant, Na-yoon used a prepared move to shove Jin-bum 3 meters away and turned to flee. In her haste, she didn't watch where she was going and tumbled to the ground. Just then, Kang-joon appeared. He gently tried to lift Na-yoon and take her to the infirmary. Once, twice, Kang-joon felt a twinge of embarrassment. Na-yoon was really heavy. He couldn't lift her and ended up hurting his back. In the end, it was Na-yoon who ended up carrying Kang-joon to the infirmary. This heartwarming scene made Ko-yoon seethe with jealousy. At the infirmary, Na-yoon asked Kang-joon, "Were you the one who wrote me the notes?" Kang-joon was completely bewildered by her question. After school, the two met again at the bus stop. Na-yoon greeted him cheerfully and prepared to leave. Suddenly, it started pouring rain. Just as Na-yoon was wondering what to do, an umbrella appeared over her head. It was Kang-joon holding it. They walked slowly along the sidewalk together. Na-yoon couldn't stop smiling. The atmosphere between them grew charged. They dropped the umbrella and began kissing passionately in the rain. But the next moment, Na-yoon woke up. She realized it was all a dream. Kang-joon was watching her pouting lips and called her name to wake her up properly. Na-yoon felt a little embarrassed. She suggested they grab something to eat. They went to a snack bar. Na-yoon ate huge, greasy bites of fried chicken, even offering a piece to Kang-joon. It was the first time Kang-joon had eaten junk food. He was a very disciplined person. To maintain his physique, he never indulged in unhealthy snacks. Back home, Na-yoon nearly cried when she saw the lollipop in her brother's hand. It was a gift from Jin-bum that she had been saving. Her brother mocked her. "What kind of guy would even look at you?" Hearing this, Na-yoon burst into tears. Others might not appreciate her beauty, but why would her own family taunt her? Back in her room, Na-yoon sobbed silently, every ounce of flesh on her body trembling. Imagining Kang-joon comforting her, she started practicing dance moves from a video, determined to beat Ko-yoon in the dance competition. The next day, Na-yoon put on her best makeup and a bright outfit, ready to challenge Ko-yoon. When she arrived, both Jin-bum and Kang-joon were stunned, but they weren't looking at Na-yoon. They were looking at Ko-yoon. She wore a short, sexy dress that accentuated a waist Na-yoon could only dream of. With seductive eyes, Ko-yoon looked at Kang-joon. Today, she was determined to get him drunk and sleep with him. She extended her hand to pull Kang-joon onto the dance floor, but Kang-joon refused. He only wanted to dance with Na-yoon. Left with no other choice, Ko-yoon took Jin-bum as her partner. As they began to dance, Na-yoon became mesmerized by Kang-joon's good looks. Her gaze became distant, and she even imagined a whole music video playing out in her head. Kang-joon called out in exasperation, "Na-yoon, snap out of it." At that moment, Jin-bum was next to Ko-yoon, acting intimately. Ko-yoon's reaction made it clear she loathed him. Eventually, Ko-yoon went to Kang-joon's room. Kang-joon was resting with his head in Na-yoon's lap. Ko-yoon cursed inwardly. Under Ko-yoon's orchestration, the party began. This was her forte. Even while pouring drinks, she accidentally flashed some cleavage. Na-yoon quickly shielded Kang-joon's view, preventing Ko-yoon from intoxicating him. Na-yoon drank every offered glass. As long as she drank enough, Kang-joon would remain sober. Gradually, Na-yoon's eyes grew hazy, and she collapsed. When she woke up, it was dark. She went upstairs to check on things and found Ko-yoon leaning against Kang-joon, chatting happily. From their conversation, Na-yoon overheard Kang-joon giving Ko-yoon a bouquet of candy simply because he didn't like sweets. It was a gift from a fan, but he couldn't bring himself to throw it away. He also talked about Na-yoon's weight, confirming that it was indeed above average. Na-yoon felt disheartened. She went downstairs and continued drinking with Yi-min. A drunken Jin bum confessed that the gift in Na-yoon's locker was from him. But in her eyes, there was only Kang-joon. Na-yoon felt a pang of guilt because, truly, there was only Kang-joon in her heart. They hugged. Jin bum loudly declared, "I love you, Ko-yoon." Finally, Na-yoon realized it was all a misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Ko-yoon's seduction plan reached its final stage. She leaned against Kang-joon. It was a pose no man could supposedly resist. She asked Kang-joon, "Do you want to?" Kang-joon looked at her and said he didn't want to at all. Ko-yoon's plan failed completely. The next day, Na-yoon went to school and realized Jae wasn't Jin bum or Kang-joon. So who was it? Could it be the bald geography teacher? Entering the classroom, she overheard Ko-yoon talking to someone. The truth became clear. Jin bum had given the perfume to Ko-yoon. She didn't like it, so she left it in Na-yoon's locker. On a whim, she also wrote a note encouraging Na-yoon to eat more. Ko-yoon and her classmates laughed, because Na-yoon's signature had also been altered to "Lifelong Love Only for Kang-joon." Anger flared within Na-yoon. She clenched her fists and marched towards Ko-yoon, ready to slap her. Instead, a carton of milk spilled all over Na-yoon. Now she looked like a cow. Finally, Na-yoon snapped. She slapped Ko-yoon hard. Classmates tried to intervene, but Na-yoon's strength was unmatched. With a resounding smack, Ko-yoon fell to the ground. Na-yoon triumphantly raised her hand. But in the next instant, all the students rushed to Ko-yoon's side, loudly criticizing Na-yoon. Then the teacher scolded Na-yoon, suggesting she become a sumo wrestler. Na-yoon felt utterly miserable. She walked silently on a bridge, pulling out a pastry from her bag. Only comfort food could soothe her negativity. The next second, the pastry fell into the water. She instinctively lunged to save it. Passers-by rushed over. Then her mother and brother arrived, frantic with worry. Seeing Na-yoon was safe, her brother's tears nearly spilled. The family of three embraced tightly. In that moment, Na-yoon finally felt warmth after a long time. The next day, Na-yoon, her spirits restored, asked Kang-joon to meet. She confronted him about his recent actions. Kang-joon wasn't angry. He simply said, "I really don't like candy. Your weight is indeed above average. But that doesn't stop me from liking you. I just want to be friends with you, just normal friends. If you don't want that, forget I said anything." Hearing these words, Na-yoon's heart softened. So their relationship returned to how it was before, starting with their perfectly synchronized dance performances. Their friendship continued from there. The final episode of the adult trainee series ends here. Na-yoon wanted to be Kang-joon's girlfriend, but Kang-joon saw Na-yoon as a friend. Even though her goal wasn't reached, their relationship took a big step forward.